It's finally time to talk about Lucy, the second true-limbed unit in Reverse 1999. Lucy is a beast when it comes to clearing mobs, dominating almost any scenarios when paired with the right squad. But here's the thing, Lucy plays like two different characters. You've got the pre-upgrade version of Lucy, and then there's the fully upgraded version of Lucy, who is on a completely different level. To maximize her potential, you need to master Dynamo and fully understand how her incantation advancement system works. At the heart of Lucy's kit is a special resource called Dynamo. Dynamo mainly does two things for her. One, it powers up her skills. All of her incantation can consume Dynamo to deal actual damage. And two, each time Lucy's team, including herself, accumulates 20 Dynamos, she can advance one of her skills, making them way more useful. So how do we actually get those precious Dynamo stacks? Well, there are a few ways. Every time Lucy gains Moxie, she picks up 2 Dynamo stacks, and if one of her allies gains Moxie or Eureka, Lucy gets 1 stack of Dynamo. Pairing her with character like Gutian, 37, 6, or Marcus can boost her Dynamo generation by a lot early on, making them some of her best teammates. The second method is by taking down enemies. When Lucy defeats an enemy, several things happen. She gains 10 Dynamo stacks and a stack of Daily Iteration. Daily Iteration is a 4% attack buff that can stack up to 5 times. Outside of the buffs, she will also cast a Conservation of Energy. It's a special AoE attack that counts as a rank 2 incantation and a follow-up attack. This attack can consume 10 Dynamos and can trigger up to twice per turn. One thing to keep in mind, if an enemy has a passive that revives them, they actually don't count as being defeated. But in battle like Main's Bulletin, where the boss replaces mobs after changing HP bar, the replaced mob are considered defeated, so you still get those benefits from most of the Main's Bulletins. Now there is one more way Lucy gains Dynamo, but before we get into that, let's break down how her skill works and how her advancement mechanic fits in. Outside of the 2 skill and ultimate, Conservation of Energy also count as a skill for Lucy. Every time her team accumulates 20 Dynamos, Lucy can advance one of her skill. Once both of her active incantation and Conservation of Energy are advanced, the next advancement will upgrade her ultimate. In case you're not sure if Lucy's ultimate is advanced, just check for the glowing rings behind her. Each ring represents a skill advancement. Before advancement, Lucy's skill 1 is a simple single target skill with no frill, but if you spend 10 Dynamos, it boosts the damage to above average. Once you advance the skill, the Dynamo cost drop to 5 and it becomes an AoE attack. While the second target does not take the full amount of damage, its multiplier is still very high for an AoE skill overall. Her skill 2 starts as a regular AoE attack that hits 2 targets. Spending 10 Dynamos let her hit 3 targets instead, or increase the damage multiplier if there are fewer than 3 enemies. Once advanced, the Dynamo cost again drops to 5, and the skill will also deal additional Genesis damage. Conservation of Energy is an AoE attack that hits all enemies. By spending 10 Dynamo, it gains 50% penetration. When advanced, it does 50% more damage to enemy below 50% health and ignore dodge and counter mechanic. Lucy's ultimate is quite a bit of a game changer for her. First, it grants her Pragmatist for 2 turns, making all her damage count as Afflitude's advantaged, with an Afflitude's advantage multiplier boosted to 140%. Then, she gains Leadership, which boosts the entire team's Afflitude's multiplier by the same amount. Her ultimate also triggers 1 cast of Conservation of Energy and give her a stack of Daily Iteration. Finally, it grants her 2 use of Charge Animations, which gives her 5 Dynamo before attacking. When her ultimate is advanced, she gets Overcharge Ammunition instead, which grants 10 Dynamo per use, and she will also start with 1 Moxie after the ultimate cast. Now that you've got somewhat a good understanding of Lucy's skills, let's talk about how to actually play her effectively. Now, Lucy essentially has 2 phases in every battle. When Lucy enters combat, she's in the first phase. During this stage, she struggles a bit with Dynamo management since both of her skills need 10 Dynamos to become truly impactful. Your main focus during this phase should be generating as much Dynamo as possible to advance her skill quickly. If you're up against enemy that can be easily defeated, Lucy can breeze through the stage by accumulating Dynamo and triggering her Conservation of Energy AoE attack. However, if there ain't much easy kills, you'll need to rely more on the team synergy, using allies to generate Eureka and Moxies to help boost her Dynamo count. A good strategy in this early phase is to fuse Lucy's skills. Since both of her basic skills are pretty underwhelming without Dynamo, fusing them isn't a huge sacrifice. Compared to use them both at rank 1 but only having enough Dynamo to upgrade one of them, using a Dynamo boosted rank 2 skill is much better. Plus, this will get her closer to her ultimate, which not only give her stacking buffs, but also provide more Dynamo to speed up her skill advancement. In case of stage where Lucy gets a lot of free Dynamos with advancement, you'll pretty much want to just advance the skill Lucy has more in hand right now. But for stages where Lucy can't get resets, you should look to upgrade her skill 1 first if there are less than 2 enemies, and skill 2 if there are more enemies, or if they're tailored to Genesis damage. The only time you'll need to advance her skill 3 first is if there are a lot of chance to reset and the enemy also have dodge or counter mechanic that you need to mitigate. Unlike me, who will probably never reach financial freedom from playing so many gacha games, once Lucy gets her enhanced ultimate, she'll reach Dynamo freedom and enter phase 2. With all of Lucy's skill advanced, her rotation simplifies dramatically. She only needs to use 4 skill per rotation now thanks to the free Moxie from her advanced ultimate, and with the cast of Conservation of Energy from her ultimate, the total cost per rotation is 30 Dynamos. Lucy's overcharge ammo from her ultimate give her 20 Dynamos in total, then she also get another 10 Dynamo from the 5 Moxie she generates within a rotation. And that's exactly what she needs to fuel her rotation without relying on any outside help. At this point, she no longer needs the team's support to generate Dynamos, and she'll also be taking up most of the action points during the battle to maximize her damage. This is one reason why I personally prefer using Gatien as her Dynamo generator over other characters. Gatien can still provide value through his buff even after Lucy no longer needs help with Dynamo generation. Another great thing about Lucy in phase 2 is that since she only needs 4 actions to get her ultimate back, you can pretty much use her ultimate every 2 turns. This means you can keep her Afflatus buff almost permanently. Now let's talk about her team. When it comes to picking the right team for Lucy, let's start with the healers. The top choice are of course Tooth Fairy and Villa, but Tooth Fairy edges out as the better option when supporting Lucy, since Lucy is a reality unit. Tooth Fairy is also easier to use when you are using the new tuning set coming with Anniversary. The new tuning set gives up the stability of being able to refresh for everyone's card with its skill, but allows you to discard the right incantation every turn to speed up rotation, and also allow you to summon 2 precast incantations of the selected character. As a result, you will be able to use more of Lucy's incantations and also have relatively fast rotation. For the support slot, especially in 3-unit team, Eureka generation characters are still your go-to choice. Gatien is hands down the best choice for Lucy, but 37 can somewhat perform as well, particularly if you're able to rack up a good number of kills. This triggers more follow-up attack from Lucy and also 37, making her even more deadly as a AoE cleanser. If you'd rather put another DPS in the slot, you can still make it work by using Lucy as a sub DPS instead. In this role, she can help clear mob while boosting the team's Afflatus advantage damage. Now, for the 3rd slot, I recommend a support character who doesn't hog action points. Anyone like Six or Kakania, depending on the situation. Six is especially useful as he can also generate additional Eureka for very cheap prices, helping Lucy warm up even faster and providing incantation rank up once a while. But overall, Lucy's team is actually pretty flexible when she doesn't need help with warming up, so any good support can honestly work here. For her Psychube, please just use her signature. It's significantly better than any other Psychube out there, and it also got all the multipliers she wants. Definitely worth amplifying as well, especially if you're planning to get her portraits. And here is her Resonance, which I forgot last time, and you can just copy from here. Now, lastly, let's go over her portraits. Every single one of Lucy's portraits are pretty influential, and some will influence her rotation, while others give her significantly more damage. P1 and P4 both increase the damage of her follow-up attack. Without it, it doesn't actually hurt that much. At P3, P4, P5, they all speed up how quickly Lucy can ramp up, while also increase the power of daily iteration. P5 is especially game-changing as it doubles Lucy's Dynamo generation from allies, and with the right team, this completely removes any issue with ramping up regardless of the content. For example, with Gatien, you could generate 6 Dynamo stacks with just a single skill, and get Lucy going faster than ever. And there you have it. When played correctly, Lucy is an absolute powerhouse with the right setup and teams. She's not just a versatile unit, but also a true universal DPS once she hits max advancement. Whether you're using her as a main DPS or a sub DPS, her impact on any team is undeniable. So tell me, what's your plan with Lucy? Are you going all in on her portrait, or are you going to settle with just one copy, or even skipping her for Dr. Kakania? Leave your plan in the comment section down below. As always, this has been Steam by Next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.